Good morning, Toyota. I have a question. This Innova is now 200,000. Why don't you just call it a Toyota Fortuner? Right. A very good looking car. 7-seater, panoramic roof, adaptive cruise control, individual middle row seats, individual climate control at the back, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, hybrid, EV mode, blah blah, everything in. Put aside the name and our association with how much it used to cost. Oh, it's over here. The Innova. If it wasn't called an Innova, this car is a bargain. Let's drive. So, starting the car. Yes, correct. We are in EV mode when we start the car. Electronic parking brake. The usual Toyota stuff. Dash cam included. Holy. And you also get aircon vents on top, on the second row and the third row. Okay, and paddle shifters. Wow. This car is fully equipped. Now I just got back from Japan. There are a ton of these type of Toyotas driving around Japan. The moment they slow down in city traffic, they all woozes by quietly in their electric mode. These are not plug-in hybrids. These are the hybrids that Toyota has always been making. Highly fuel efficient, and over the years has proven their worth. You know, see, you're just rolling by quietly when you're driving slow or starting the car, or you're just rolling off, and then it seamlessly transition into petrol power as the speed goes up, which makes sense because petrol does better in high speed, electric does better in low speed. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. They have all these, and then the buttons are still dark. Yep. Anyway, let's drive. So if you look to the left, which used to be the RPM meter, there are no RPM meters here. Maybe I haven't changed the modes. Anyway, I was exiting the junction and I depressed my throttle pedal by around half, but it still remained within the green zone, and the car refused to fire up its engine provided I am extremely committed. Right? I mean, it still moves, it's okay enough for me to join the traffic after the junction, but on first impressions, you may think that, hey, why is there no power? It's not that it has no power. It's that if you want power, you have to be committed to kick the throttle out of the eco range, the green zone, basically. Okay. So, but I have experience with these type of hybrids from Toyota, and they are extremely effective when it comes to fuel saving. Okay, extremely. So everything else on the dashboard is very easy to understand, very straightforward. The drive modes are here. Let me try and change the drive modes. Sport, Eco, Normal, and Sport, I guess. I'll put it in Eco, and see the average is 6.6 liters per 100 km. That is extremely fuel efficient for a big 7-seater car that is as large as, I would say, at least in length, like a Mazda CX-8. USB-C, USB-A, 12-volt socket, 360 camera, powered boot. You have everything in this car. Wireless phone charger that is standard phone friendly, and typical Japanese fashion, they just get a supplier to supply them something and they mount it directly without any attempts of integrating it. Never mind, as long as it works. That's oh, that is a slim. They slimmed down this design. Now Toyota have had front aircon vent, lower front aircon vent mounted cup holders for a while now. This is an update to the mechanism. It is a lot slimmer in profile, and I believe it still works. And it's well hidden. You wouldn't have seen it as a cup holder. You know, just pull it out, pop, let go, and I mean, of course, the questions remain: would you want to mount a big can of water high up in your car or low down? As this is an SUV, the higher it gets, the further away you are from the center of its not gravity, but you know how when something moves, the further you are away from its point, you are moving more. Basically, you shake more when you are further away from the wheels. Okay, and this is already an SUV, a rather tall SUV. But I mean, for this type of car, I don't think that's the biggest concern with engineers. Right? Ask how you have one. Pretty nifty mechanism there. The tablet is now a true tablet. Yep, it is no longer a pretend tuned-in player. It is a high mounted tablet. But the question remains: should the whole gear panel be that huge? The aircon controls can be mounted lower. The aircon vents should be on top, and then the screen can be at where the screen should have been. But nevertheless, higher up here provides an easier vantage point when I'm seated here. As I move my eyes just a little bit slightly, I can see all my information. Yeah. Okay, so far it's comfortable, but in a more SUV way. The previous Innova, when they updated it to look like some Thai tourism van with ambient lighting all across the entire ceiling, that one distinctly, I remember, rides plusher, but that is an MPV, and this is now in the modern form factor that is more widely accepted, which is an MPV that is in the form of an SUV, like a Kia Sorento, like a Kia Carnival, like a Hyundai Santa Fe. Basically, you can already call this an SUV because of its form factor. Alright, and is it still leather frame? I suppose so. Probably not, given the ingress and egress is not as high as a Fortuner per se. So sitting position is very comfortable. The footrest is huge. Nothing juts out here that obstructs my knee. Overall it's hard plastic. I mean, this car is CBU from Indonesia. Right, these are pretend leathers with some stitching here, soft touch material. Nothing else is soft, but it's alright. This is soft as well. The touch points, the crucial touch points are soft, which is enough. The rest are hard plastic, but not the knuckle hurting type. I like honest products like this, and they stuff in everything for you. You know, you get everything on your steering wheel, even a pedal shifter. You know, yeah, it's an unpretentious product. But at 200,000 ringgit, it is begging for a little bit of luxury. I'm now in the kind of dilemma that I'm in whenever I was in a Subaru product, that you can't fault the car when it comes to driving, when it comes to ride comfort, but you kind of wish that it looks a little bit more attractive. I'll give an example. The previous generation or the current generation Toyota Fortuner has a rather attractive cabin, right? It's good looking. This one, of course, the reason they designed the whole center dash to be perfectly symmetrical in the middle is, of course, to reduce costs when it comes to adopting left-hand drive, right-hand drive versions. You know, they are able to save costs over there. All right, and of course the placement of components, ancillaries behind the dashboard, because all these designs are crucial when it comes to weight saving, when it comes to cost saving. When it's designed well, they are able to adopt to different markets very, very quickly. And Toyota are masters at this. All right, they know their stuff. But in Malaysia, unfortunately, for our exchange rate and our more straightforward taxation calculation now, you know, earlier on, the past 10 years, there was a lot of grey areas, and you know, it's subject to personal favoritism for the past 10 or 15 years. But now they cleaned it up. They just follow the books, the rule books, and yeah, this car now ends up at 200,000 ringgit. And obviously when you sit in this and then you sit in the CX-8, you will feel that the CX-8 is more premium per se, okay? But I don't think this is a bad attempt. Toyota's drivetrain is very proven, and these EVs are, you can see many of them still running around, and in Japan they're all over because they achieve their KPI, which is to save fuel. And when you use daily like this, driving like that, you will see the benefits very, very quickly because they are exceptionally fuel efficient. But the thing is, Mazda also achieves exceptional fuel efficiency without a hybrid. And of course, with a hybrid, you know the stigma associated with hybrids, and they tend to have higher depreciation. Okay, but that remains to be seen as people become more and more accepting of these. Okay, cheers. Okay, just now I mentioned that the left meter that remains in green means it's EV. That was true earlier on, but now as my speed climbs up, very obvious the engine has fired in, but my left indicator is still showing I'm in the eco mode. So basically, as long as I remain within this green area, I will be driving at a rather efficient mode. Okay, and the car picks up speed okay. Now this is the type of car that when you go to showroom and test drive, you know how most test drives happen. People go in there, strap their seatbelt. The moment they head out, they go full throttle, and then they judge whether the car is powerful or not. I mean, the thing is, yeah, test drive, that happens, but the more important thing is driving like this, because whatever car you buy, be it a Ferrari or a Porsche, I mean, Ferraris are not daily cars, I mean, put that aside. Even Porsches, after you buy the car, 5 months, 6 months, 3 months down the road, when you're using it to your office, to do your stuff daily, assume you're using it as a daily, you'll be driving like that. Provided if you're a young nincompoop, you know, who just got your driver's license, that's a different case. But most people drive like that. And in terms of these type of driving, which Japanese car makers focus on. See, Japanese car makers, when they design their cars, right, they focus on the 90% of your usage cycle and how well the car does at that. Whereas European car makers focuses more on sealing the deal when you're in the showroom. Alright, they give you a turbocharged engine, you know, the figures are really low for their any DC cycle or WLTP or whatever, and then all that. So in terms of how the car manages its fuel consumption, these type of usage is important, okay? But that's not saying that I'm attracted by this behavior. I'm not at all, but this is how we drive, you know. 90% of the time, the way we drive, our cars is operating at its non-attractive mode, alright? Nothing appeals to your emotional satisfaction in your day-to-day usage of your car, be it a BMW, be it a Toyota or whatnot, right? You're just trundling along like that. But it works, okay? Later on, after the toll, I will attempt a heavier, slightly heavier acceleration, and my assumption is it won't be great, but I could be wrong, but that's also from my past experience that nothing exciting should be expected of it because it wasn't designed to do that. Alright? So far, the ride comfort is alright. I mean, it's miles more comfortable than the Grab Premium Hyundai Starex that if you are unlucky, you ended up in. Okay, and in terms of sound insulation, it's pretty alright. Not to the level of, I would say, Mazdas at this price point, but it's not a huge difference. It's not a huge difference. It's totally okay. Yeah. And, let's go through this and then we continue. Alright, let's do a rolling kickdown. Loud. Alright, it accelerates, but it's loud. But I expected, again, I expect all this. So, it's not really lethargic. Oh, careful lady. I mean, that incident is the fault of the highway designers. How can you have all motorcycle lanes on the left? Immediately after the toll, they need to go all the way to the right to exit to Federal Highway. These are the type of idiocy that happens in our country. Anyway, yeah, you can accelerate. It's gonna be loud. It doesn't encourage you to have yourself in that situation, listening to that moaning of a sound for far too long, and then you will ease off your throttle, and then the car will quiet down, and then you just cruise. So that, in a way, again, fits into its objective of being a family car and trying to save as much fuel as it could. It used to mean nothing to us Malaysians. I mean, you guys have to understand this. We Malaysians, right, have it extremely lucky. Okay, our cars are not the most expensive in the world. Many regions are more expensive than us. Even countries with lower GDP per capita, their cars cost more than us. And then our fuel is extremely cheap for far too long. And the fact that our government has spoiled us. You see, Malaysian people, right, while they are complaining about high living costs and all that, right, you still see a lot of Malaysians running their car parked wherever it may be, around Mid Valley or whatnot, parked in the car with the windows slightly open, and then they just sleep in the car, basically burning petrol for aircon. Just to run the aircon, they fire up a 4-cylinder piston engine just to power the aircon, you know. That's all they want. I mean, it's a waste of fuel. And you look at Thailand, Malaysia's GDP per capita is around that of what, 12,000 US dollar a year, and Thailand is somewhere around, I don't know, 7,000 US dollar a year, and their petrol is about 5 ringgit, 4 to 5 ringgit, right? And they still use their cars, but the thing is, we have been spoiled by 2 ringgit petrol that is so cheap. It's cheaper than mineral water. I mean, can you buy a 1 liter, probably around there, or slightly cheaper, you know? So we just need to adjust our usage. You know, we're too used to wasting petrol. Okay, so I know there will be people arguing, oh, we are a petrol producing nation, it should be cheap for us. Venezuela, blah blah, Iran, blah blah, Brunei and all that. But the thing is this, if our government's money, which comes from our taxes, right? I mean, the government has to tax us and make good use of the money, right? That money is finite, is limited. That money could be used to building more hospitals, could be used to building more schools, improving our infrastructure, or to let you burn it away, wasting your money in your car, right? I mean, we are a car nation, but we are also highly spoiled, I would say, by the government. Of course, I mean, who doesn't love free petrol? Who doesn't love cheap petrol, right? But the balance should be there. If we are extremely rich, then it's okay. But if we are not, then if government were to subsidize, I would rather they subsidize, you know, on proper usage. Say, for example, public transport or those doing Grab or whatnot, you know. But for private users, I think we're just wasting too much petrol doing this every single morning. But of course, that has to do with city planning, infrastructure, blah blah. That's another topic, okay? What I'm saying is that the whole world, a lot of people needs cars like these, cars like Skyactiv or whatnot, hybrid, plug-in hybrid and all that, EVs and all that, because petrol is expensive. It's a commodity, okay? Thailand, a lot of Grab cars are using EVs now. I just heard a interesting story yesterday. Some Thai people are buying that Chinese EV brand Neta because it's cheap. Okay, and Neta has like a very long period of warranty. Anyway, the guy bought the car for his Grab usage, right? Because he don't need to pump petrol because he is an EV. He was able to make back the purchase price of the car in a couple of months from his income. You know, he is able to break even. And in a way, if you think about it, one Grab car can serve I don't know how many hundred of customers a week. It's a form of car sharing, right? It's also pretty sustainable. Anyway, yeah. If you're thinking of buying this car, I think you can go ahead because it serves its purpose, I guess. Big car inside, comfortable to ride in, modern. You have all the features. Yep. Okay. Cheers. Later I'll do the walk around. So I'm now stuck in a traffic jam. I just tried to use its adaptive cruise control. Press the button, activate it, and this button allows you to toggle between normal cruise control or adaptive cruise control. And see, I press this to activate lane keep assist, and then the green color thing will come up. And now the car has read that this road is 60 km/h, and press the button resume, and it will resume. And then you just deal with the traffic jam itself. My foot is off the throttle. Hey, not bad. Not bad. Having a car that does that is always great in a traffic jam. Of course, you do not leave it solely to its own discretion, because there will be motorcycles, there will be cars cutting in. You still have to be, at all times be careful. Okay? Yeah, but it totally relieves off a lot of stress, especially in stop and go morning traffic like this, where there's a lot of people who suddenly look at other things and then they didn't notice the front car has jammed its brakes and then you hit into the back. So it alleviates all this. Actually, I think, anyway, that's another separate topic, about insurance claim and all that. Never mind. Yep, so far it's doing it on its own. It's able to read the road markers, the car in front. Of course, like I always say, I prefer cars that actively has a screen, either way, that shows me what it is seeing, so I know what it knows, and that alleviates a form of fear for me. Yep. Okay, now my fuel consumption has dropped down to 5.9, despite it's a morning traffic jam kind of drive. 5.9 liters per 100 km. Anyway, the car is now operating on its own. Lane keep assist is on. Green color lights detected. My foot is off the throttle. I've set it to the nearest of adaptive cruise control, and this is obviously one level up from adaptive cruise control. This is actually traffic jam assist, because I am able to activate it at less than 10 km/h and it turned on. Okay, and so far I'm quite happy with the way it manages traffic that cuts in. It does not panic jam, and the other thing is that it's not too aggressive when it comes to me pulling the steering wheel slightly to the right in order to keep a wider berth of road for the for the road markers, where in Malaysia, city area, people tend to drive, let's see how the car reacts to this one. I'm not stepping. Oh, the car did not read it. Okay, I have to intervene. Maybe it will intervene at a later stage, but this guy did not even light up his indicators and just veered in, expecting me to yield, which usually people will to pick up trucks like that. Yep. A Hilux bullying an Innova? What's so surprising about that, right? Anyway, let's let the car continue, does its thing. I want to say this just now. In Klang Valley, those who drive on the right lane will keep two wheels very near to the road marker, as you can notice. The Hilux in front also doing the same thing, because we are leaving a wider gap for motorcycles to pass through. Okay, it's a common habit here, because motorcycles, unlike Thailand, where all of them stay in the inside lane, or unlike other countries where you have motorcycle lanes, they should be in there, but then in Malaysia they will be everywhere. They can be on my right now, they can be on my left now, Anyway, so some cars would be very aggressive in trying to pull itself back to the middle of the road. This one is alright, not too aggressive, so it sort of allows me to work together with it. So I am pretty happy with this system. It's just that, of course, again, I want to bring up Volvos. They are more matured in this approach. They are able to detect cars that looks like on their trajectory about to come into ours, and they would have anticipated for it. Just now, that situation, the Volvo would have already eased off the throttle, okay, in anticipation of it making a move like that. Anyway, now the car will accelerate up to 80 plus. See how fast it detects the cars in front. Pretty okay. Starts braking. It's not late per se, but it starts braking when you, as a seasoned driver, begin feeling concerning. For a normal experienced driver like us, we would have eased off the throttle very, very early on the onset, because we see up front is jammed. But of course, our eyes can see further than the radars of the car, right? So, coupled with our experience, we can see from dead far ahead. We can see from really far ahead that it's already a jam, so we won't keep as close a distance. So now I will ease the car off to its furthest distance to see whether the car would dynamically change its distance to the car in front based on the speed that we're traveling in. Okay? Yeah, I think it does, because at this speed, this is considered the furthest at this speed. Okay, I don't like the audio warning of when my two wheels are touching the inside white marker, because lane keep assist is on. They keep lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control as a separate thing, right? At any given point you can turn it on and off individually. I think the indicator, the sound, the warning sound that they use, I mean, this is typical of Japanese mass market car makers. They couldn't be bothered with these kind of things, you know, because a lane marker, lane keep assist warning should sound different from a warning that would have sound like you left your keys in the car when you step out, when you turn off your car and all that, right? It should have a different tone to convey a different meaning, right? So a car where the wheels are touching the white markers should have a different grade of audible warning based on your speed and all that. And just now that one is just like, oh, you left your keys in the car, that type of warning. Or you left your headlamps on after you switch off the car and you want to walk out, you know. These type of annoying but low danger kind of sound, you know. Anyway, asking too much. It's an Innova at the end of the day, right? But the fact that it's now a 200,000 ringgit car, and then they added the word Zenix, which is supposed to sound a little bit more sophisticated for an Innova Zenix. That's the full name now. Okay. Yeah. So that's my report on its adaptive cruise control system. Okay. Second round of driving. So you guys can see the inside of the car, right? Second row, third row. Now, the second row, they look like individual seats. It's a good and bad thing, because when your second row is two individual seats, it's separated, it feels more atas, feels more luxurious, in a way, visually at least. But some people will feel that, hey, it takes away one more. It takes one more seat away from the car, which ought to be more useful. However, the thing is, if you have the second row as a bench and it's sort of so when you have the second row as a bench, it sort of cuts off the third row, so the usage of the third row becomes pretty much underutilized. It's not like we have to forcefully use it, but that's a fact, because when you need to fold the second row all over just to access the third row, so at times some people just fold up the third row and not use it, right? Whereas when it's accessible, you don't need the second row passengers to alight the car, and the third row can go in and out. That's a huge difference. Okay. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about in its interior. Overall, the fit and finish is acceptable for 130,000 ringgit Japanese car, which we used to remember, because Malaysians have to adjust to it now. Our ringgit has fallen. Over the years, it has fallen by close to 30-40%. So we have to expect that to be in the 170-180k range now. right? And then this car is fully spec'd up. So I don't find this car expensive, to be honest. For 200,000, for what you're getting, I don't think it's expensive. It is a big car. I know it is a proper SUV ride height. It drives perfectly okay, perfectly alright. It's not like it has a lot of plush surfaces to go about, but whatever it has, it's being done well enough. It's being done well enough, to be honest. I mean, the third row are really tiny seats, very thin and all that, but I really want to try if I can fold them all the way down. Okay, other than that, nothing much. The interior is modern enough, but it's not super pretty, but it's not ugly either. It's super usable. I like the placement of the gear lever, but of course the whole thing ought to have, I believe there's a lot of space that could have been freed up instead of having one giant waterfall console like an Aston Martin actually. The way the console flows down. Door bins are all just plastics and all. I mean, it's just plastic overall. If you come from a Vios, it is of the same level of build. I don't mean it's crap. What I mean is it's just straightforward, nothing fancy. Okay, it is in the same level of build as a Vios. But if a Vios costs 100k, there's definitely twice the amount of car here in terms of size, in terms of materials and everything going on. Okay, so yeah, it would have been awesome if this one is priced at 170. I mean, everything is better when it's cheaper and you get more, but I don't think this pricing is overly ridiculous. But calling it Innova, people may immediately connect back to a car that is 100-ish instead of 200. Why don't they call it Fortuner Zenix instead of Innova Zenix? Right? It's like a light Fortuner. That could have been, yeah. Okay. Cheers.